Alright, more fun. This one might be a long one, unfortunately. So we have some comments on the Anti-Bullshit-Man blog. There's some on my video. I guess I'll get to those eventually. But yeah, these Tranquil and Bullshit Man, yeah, just fuck you too. Fuck you too, okay? Yeah, just, the war is on, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna nail you on every piece of bullshit you fucking post. You fucking cowards. I mean, this is just such bullshit. The minutia bullshit games these assholes are playing. I mean, this Tranquil asshole is some sort of fucking goddamn Buddhist shithead who is in love with Schopenhauer and Koran, or whatever the fuck his idiotic name is. And, you know, he hasn't had an original idea in his whole fucking life. All he does is post slanders about other people's psychology. And he's fucking whacked out of his own head, right? His life is a complete motherfucking chaotic mess, alright? And he sits there and will backseat drive other people's lives. And then play these little picky-ass games where he totally exaggerates what somebody says. And this is just such bullshit. I mean, and they're not even close to being on the subject. I mean, Tranquil, I just read one of his posts. He just asked a question on my video. Post a comment. Do you think Van Gogh was a failure? Is that really on the subject? And you want me to give you a treatise on Van Gogh? I mean, Van Gogh had lots of fucking goddamn issues, okay? Like your fucking Schopenhauer, Van Gogh was a bit of a misogynist motherfucking cunt who actually tried to extort a woman into marrying him. Now, right, don't marry me for love. No, marry me because I tell you to. Right? That's what kind of fucking ego issues that fucking psychotic lunatic had. And at the same time, yes, he was this beautiful soul with this deep want to be productive, to be useful, to be all of those things. And he would be the first one to probably tell you he failed dismally. His life was a grotesque failure. He'd squandered a ton of goddamn money trying to be something, right? And he just couldn't figure out that you don't be something by painting pictures. Yeah, you don't fix the world's problems by painting pictures. As much as you think that might help, it's not going to help. But anyway, that's a whole other subject. But again, isn't that, yeah, that's exactly it. Let's fuck the issue. Let's get into a fight about whether Van Gogh was a child molester or not. I mean, really, who the fuck could care less? And you don't see how that's going to piss me off, that some asshole's going to go around the internet asking me inane, stupid questions just to distract me, just to distract the subject, just not to, let's focus on the bird shit some more. Keep going back to the bird shit. Fuck you people. This fucking game playing nonsense. Alright, so here's Bullshit Man's responses to these assholes. Yikes, the last four could have signed off with at least a letter or two so I don't have to address all those in quotes or whatever. Make a video like you used to. We need you in the conversation. Already did. Watch, so I'm going to watch this video. Just make some kind of crack about why I haven't responded to it. Well, guess what? I didn't know you made it, jackass. You probably put it on your fucking wimp-ass channel, right? Your second channel where you put your whatever videos you don't want to be accountable for on or something. I don't know. Quote, if Tranquil had a vagina and pretty eyes, I'm guessing it would be different. Yeah, he'd have to shave the beard, too. So, yeah, as long as that's part of the conditions. Yeah, it might be different even if he just shaved the beard. Because right now he looks like some kind of Muslim motherfucker. Okay? He looks like a motherfucking psychotic at the moment. And he talks like a psychotic. So, yeah, 2 plus 2 equals psychotic. Anyway, I need to put this theory to the test. Not by making Tranquil get a sex change. Well, that's not going to help. Like I say, it's going to keep the beard. Fuck the sex change. But by having some of Gary's favorite YouTube ladies who've already informed me that they reject the net principle. Great, so let me see who these ladies are. Is your ballless again? Oh, I have secret communication from all the internet women's that, they don't think suffering sucks. Okay, fine. He's probably talking about Karina, okay? Because, Karina's like totally wimped out on the anti-natalist subject. But Karina's out of the story anyway, right? She doesn't make videos about anything. She never did make videos about anything, right? She only talked about that shit when she was in Stickcam. She never made videos about any other shit but this atheist crap and how Muslims are crazy. I mean, she could make a video about how Tranquil's a crazy motherfucker, but she hasn't bothered doing that either. So, I mean, if that's going to be one of your people, it doesn't going to matter any, right? That's a whole separate subject. She doesn't get into this fucking moral nihilism bullshit conversation ever, as far as I've noticed. So hell, who else you got? Huh? I mean, you know, you're threatening us with a big list here somewhere. And again, I've already demonstrated the fact that I will fucking drill an asshole in any sex. I mean, come on. I mean, I took on Existential Cat, right, over a kind of a minor, doing a little, even just a little minor religiosity, just using words like spiritual and shit. And yeah, I burned that fucking bridge. Not that there was any bridge to anywhere, but you know what I'm saying, just the metaphorical, wishy-wanty, hopey, don't hate me bridge. I burned the don't hate me bridge. And I had every reason to maintain that one because, I mean, she's an artist and, you know, there's so many little things that, you know, but whatever. I'm not even, that's not, see again, this isn't the fucking subject. Gary is not the fucking subject, you fucking retards. The subject is there a quanta to value? Is value something real, okay, that exists? Is this machinery, this thing we're doing, the human race, racing, does it do it at an efficiency? Does it leave some blood and guts behind that you can calculate? Does it consume a fuel, suffering? And does it produce something? Oh yes, satisfied ambition. Yeah, all right. And is the fuel less valuable than what is being produced, which is, aren't we wonderful? Ego glorification and gratification. Show me the chick who thinks that's a brilliant philosophy to negate the guts on the floor, negate the blood, negate the suffering, negate the people in the mental institution right now, and negate all 3.5 billion years of organisms cannibalizing each other. Show me the chick who's going to say that doesn't mean anything. All right, anyway, to point this out within his radar, $20 says they don't get nearly the same harsh treatment as male nihilists get. Well, go ahead, show me. Who the fuck are you got on your nihilist list? Who are these people? Well, they're obviously fucking women who are pussies, right? They consider a guy to have a flapping vagina if they're got to go to anti-bullshit man in secret first and say, yeah, I don't know, I can't stand this suffering sucks talk. Oh, it's all crazy shit. All right, let's see. Society couldn't function if you always had to keep an eye out for the torture van. I don't even know what that means. That's the last thing that makes the net obligationist position loopy. That's the last thing that makes the obligationist position loopy, especially if you ask them and their social contract denying asses. Again, who is denying the social contract, you stupid cunt? So another lie. Right? There's just a difference between absolute morality, value, the end game truth of something, and the means that you can legitimately get to it. And so I'm just saying that, if tomorrow I find out that my neighbor is a serial killer, but I know that I can't prove it, but I have absolute evidence, like he said it right to my face, but I don't have a recording of it. And let's just theoretically say that I'm not smart enough to figure out some way to entrap him so he demonstrates what he's doing. And I have knowledge that he plans on, you know, tomorrow going out and torturing a woman, you know, peeling her skin off before she's dead and eating it, and then raping and killing her. And I wipe him out. Tonight I go there and I suffocate him with a pillow. I've violated the social contract. I've committed the crime of, you know, whatever you call that, hanging somebody from a tree, you know, doing my little my juvenile justice, my whatever you call that. You know what I mean, when you go outside the law. I've broken the social contract. But the truth is, I've done absolute good. I mean, I've gotten rid of a social blight, and I've spared this woman this horrible torture, and that's just a fact. Just a fact. So yeah, the social contract is something you got to do to make life civil, so us humans can get along with each other. And it's only because of the fact that we can't agree on what the truth is. If we agreed on what the truth was, we wouldn't need the social contract, correct? Right? There'd be no need for a social contract if we agreed on what was valuable. Right? I mean, that's just the truth of it. We wouldn't need the damn thing if we had agreement on this moral issue. And it's the fact that we don't have agreement is why the social contract has to exist. But the social contract has no integrity. It isn't something imposed by necessity of reason, rationality. It's only imposed because of circumstances. You don't make a social contract rationally. You do it because circumstances require you to compromise. But the compromise is an offense to the truth, right? You're diluting the truth by compromising. So it's a blight against the truth, but it's a necessary blight because of the circumstance we're stuck in. Because there's no other way to function. Oh God! But the social contract is not the baby. The social contract's the fucking bathwater. You want to get rid of the social contract and you want to fucking have the baby in the tub. And all we got now, because we can't agree on the baby, is the bathwater. We just got a bunch of empty bathwater. No baby at all. Anyway. That's the last thing. Okay, now we're done with that. Especially if you ask them and their social contract denying asses. Whatever. Really, see, this rhetoric deserves so much respect. I might be spoiled by reading high literature. My intent would never be to live up to it. Whatever. Okay, so here's this little thing to Tranquil, right? Tranquil's comment was, I should read that because it's just hilarious. I don't think it has anything to do with me as a person. It's just people who express dissent in a confident manner. Confident how? Again, you're not expressing dissent in any confident manner. All you're doing is quoting assholes. Dead assholes. Okay? So I say bullshit on that. Okay? I can't cross-examine your fucking assholes that you keep quoting as if they're gods or something. So fuck that shit. And the shit that you're quoting is shit. But really, I'm not going to dissect Schopenhauer's entire treatise on any subject, because guess what? It's a convoluted pile of crap anyway. Self-contradicting all over the fucking place. As it was pointed out by Anti-Bullshit-Man, the fact that we're much younger than him definitely makes it a lot worse. Oh, man. I mean, this is just amazing. Yeah, you're younger and you're fucking 10,000 times more useless than I was at your age, buddy. He can't look inferior to younger guys. Whatever. So that's your claim, that you're making some sort of a superior argument. So, okay, I'm going to be on your ass. I'm just giving you fair warning, okay? Anyone when I see one of your comments, I'm going to read your fucking comment. I'm going to point out what a little weasel you are. A little fucking whiny weasel who's accountable for nothing. You can't make a goddamn video, articulate video, without resorting to your quote mining. It's too hurtful to his vanity. Well, again, keep making your accusations. You look like the desperate little twat who has nothing. You're standing on dead men, you little twat. I'm standing on myself. I'm standing on my own 2 fucking feet, and I'm making direct statements and direct arguments. I'm not convoluting the language and perverting it all over the goddamn place. Your last argument I saw in your video was some bullshit that because everything that civilization has done, not everything has turned out too well. Like not every goodwill mission has turned out not to end up in exploitation or harm, like, helping out the Native Americans or some other kind of thing. That sometime all civilization is shit. I mean, it's a childish, immature nonsense, and I'm sure Anti-Bullshit-Man should take full account of that. So go ahead, suck this guy's dick, Anti-Bullshit-Man. So you want to go back to, 1492 too? Because that's where Tranquil wants to live, you stupid cunt. Anyway, this was a very comprehensive post. I'm glad you went through the trouble. Through the trouble? Well, anyway, even though it didn't lead to any good with Inmendham himself, I'm sure most people can see your side of the argument is the most rational one. Yeah, well, again, he didn't make any counter-argument. He just argued a bunch of bird shit. Fuck. I mean, it wasn't even close to being on the subject. So here we go. Tranquil. Thanks, buddy. I love to suck your dick sometime. Call me. Please, hurry up. So we can do some, whatever, wanky-panky together. crazy, but I think this stands to do some good somewhere down the road. Oh, please. I mean, again, so yes, people, please read his blog and explain to me what exactly, how he demonstrates that suffering doesn't suck, that it isn't absolutely a bad thing in and of itself. I mean, he makes idiotic arguments that somehow stupid people should suffer, that somehow that is somehow a good thing. That's the kind of crap he's saying here. You don't get it at all. You don't even come close to getting it. I mean, his argument is, I think George C. Scott was a much better Scrooge than Alistair Seam. That's the kind of fucking arguments in his blog. But I think this stands to do some good somewhere down the road, especially if he revisits the write-up at some point later. Well, like I said, I already revisited 2 paragraphs and found them to be lacking. When my writing doesn't have the error of competition bound in it. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, right. You're fucking insulting all over the goddamn place, you little slandering twat. So yeah, fuck you. Your writing is just a slander. That's all it is. It's backseat driving, it's quote mining, it's quote distortion. I mean, you know, any little tiny concessions I make. You know, it's like I say something in Stickam like, oh yeah, well, you know, this is like practice. So if I said it in Stickam, you know, doing these videos is like practice, that means that's the only thing I think I've ever done when I make videos. They're all just practice. Or if I say, well, you know, there's something good about, you know, getting into the fight and having a nice little competitive battle. Oh, that means all my videos, I make them because I'm an egomaniacal crazy fuck who just loves to have fights. I mean, this is the way they are distorting and perverting little fucking side remarks made in Stickam and ignoring overt statements yelled into the fucking camera. Suffering fucking sucks. It absolutely fucking sucks. And the word sucks means that's bad. And that means it's a negative. And that means it's an absolute motherfucking value in the goddamn universe. And there would be no value in the goddamn universe if you didn't have a sentient thing capable of feeling suffering, you stupid fuck. Let me see you unravel that with anything but crap. See how your social contract is somehow relevant to that truth. Your social contract built out of fucking disgusting compromise with a bunch of fucking idiotic notions that happen to be popular, but idiotic. Okay. When my writing doesn't have the... I left 8 comments on his video reply to this. Yeah, 8 fucking raggy, stupid, idiotic, and name more paragraphs about bird shit. And I should waste my time on your distractions and your irrelevancies. Nowhere in your 8 comments will there be a single motherfucking point about how there isn't any such thing as value in the universe. How sentience doesn't create value. How if I make a sentient thing, I have now created something that can be in a value state of positive or negative. Nothing in those 8 paragraphs will reference that whatsoever, yet you will maintain your nihilist credibility somehow. How? I don't know. Anyway, nor has he challenged my video. Well, how the fuck could I challenge a video I don't know about, you stupid fuck? I think there's a chance of him at some point in the future incorporating the adults-minors distinction in the rationality, not psychology pile. Well, again, I don't know what this adults-minors distinction is. I did see you write some shit about it, but frankly, I don't give a fuck. Okay, whether something's 6 years old or 60 years old or 600 years old, it really, in my opinion, isn't fucking relevant to anything at all. And understanding that you only use kids as an example because they are usually more innocent, so they don't have a taint on them. They haven't committed any crimes yet, so they're usually a good thing to use as an example of something that has some sort of purity. But you could also find an adult with some sorts of purity. I mean, it's possible anyway. Theoretically possible. And understanding the distinction is more than just lip service for social contract mush. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't, you want to keep thinking the social contract has some sort of integrity, as if it was constructed by anything else but a concession to a horrible circumstance? I mean, that has any substance? This idea that we're just going to accept might makes right. We're going to have to compromise with something only because it killed. Like we'll have to compromise with Christianity, so we have to let it write part of our contract merely because it killed everybody else on earth, and that somehow is a valuable thing. The social contract is God? No, because the social contract is a pile of shit. Okay, and it only exists because of the necessity, because we as human beings can't agree on what the truth is. But frankly, I don't need the rest of the human race to agree with me once I know I have the facts, and once I know they can't make a counter argument. Then I have the truth in my goddamn pocket, and if I have the circumstance available to me, yeah, the social contract is going to be fucking irrelevant. Anyway, so yeah, the video. We'll go to the video. So there's the link. So I just hit my little tool. That's what it's for. Oops, wrong one. Hit the wrong tool. Okay, hit this one. That'll do it. And we'll pop over to the video.
First weekend in about a month, so I'm going to make the most of it and do a YouTube video. Still going to keep the main channel in exile and do this on the junk channel. In the description.
So that's it. So he put something on his stupid junk channel where he never posts anything anyway, and like I'm supposed to give a fuck. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize I was supposed to run over to the old junk channel to find your video.
Section, if you take a look, you will find a blog post I wrote up yesterday. It is a response to 2 videos inmendham uploaded over the last couple of days. Videos that invoke my username in the title. Well, a variation of my username. An unflattering one. There's actually...
Oh, so why don't you waste time talking about that? Let's read this description. Disclaimer, rejecting flimsy notions of net equation obligationism does not come with any of the following side effects. Denial that other sentient creatures exist and feel. Well, I'm just saying you can't be a nihilist and not say you're denying the existence of anything meaningful to their sentience, right? So, I mean, conceding that they exist and feel. Who cares if they feel if you don't think feelings matter, you dumb shit? If you don't think feelings have a value component, then there's no point in saying, I concede feelings exist. Well, what's the fucking point? Doesn't mean anything. That's like saying, I don't think girls are for raping. That's what they're not for, but I'll rape them all I want. Yeah, fuck you. Denial that the universe exists independent of one's own perception. Denial that the human brain is capable of gleaning facts. Denial that there exists an experimental difference between having a pencil shoved in your eye and not having a pencil shoved in your eye. An experiential difference. Well, again, experiential in what sense? In a value sense, you shithead. Again, I obviously, it would be idiotic for you to deny that there's not a difference because there's different matter now. Matter's arranged differently, okay? And to argue that the experience is, oh, well, that's no different than, look, I will write the word pencil in my eye on my face, and somehow that's the same thing. No, if you're not going to negative experiential difference or substantial value experiential difference. Okay, but this again, no value component here doesn't mean anything again. If the experience is, oh, I have a pencil in my eye. Oh, I don't have a pencil in my eye. If that's all you're saying, the difference is, well, then it's a meaningless difference, right? Yeah, that's not what we're arguing. So again, more evasion, more bird shit, more fucking with the goddamn truth here. Apprehension to drawing vital conclusions when the data is available. Well, I don't even know what that means, but I think you're running away from the conclusions because they're right there now. We already have the evidence of the conclusions. A yearning to jerk off on the internet. Whatever that is. Please consult your doctor and see if rejecting net equation obligationism is right for you. Again, so when he says net equation obligationism, He's just saying, when you know it's the right thing, when Mr. Spock points out to you that there's 5 million people that will be saved horrible suffering if you just, stick this teaspoon up your ass for 5 minutes, you're supposed to do what? Say, no, I really don't feel like it. Yeah, fuck that. That seems inconvenient. Well, anyway. No, look at this shit. He can't do anything without just rambling. Note, I finished Inmendham's third Part 2 Bullshit Man video. Nothing new there. He read my comments in the wrong order and misunderstood a few words. He also can't pronounce the word estimological when he sees it. At this stage, I'm doubtful as to whether he even aware of the definition. Yes, right. I don't give a fuck. That's exactly right. I don't give a fuck. Okay? All I care about is moral nihilism. Fuck you, you're an asshole. He seems to not give a fuck about it. Yes, I just said that. Or the majority of my actual points when contextualized. Look, you've made your actual point. You're sitting there, said it right in your title. You're mocking this idea that you have an obligation to serve the net equation. You don't have any obligation to do the right thing when the right thing is spelled out for you. You're saying that there's some other rational imperative. You're saying that somehow your personal desire not to do it is somehow more important than the fact that it needs to get done. I say that makes you an irrational asshole. You can't rationally defend preserving your personal welfare at the expense of other welfares. You can't do it rationally. You can only do it as a selfish son of a bitch. As an irrational, selfish son of a bitch. Alright, well, enough of this. I mean, it's just way too much. He just writes too much crap. Fuck him. Fuck Skid Row for commenting, I think. Yeah. Great point on the lack of obligation, and besides, it's easy to say I would step into the chamber to save an entity of humanity from suffering forever and ever, amen. It's rather unlikely that pledge would be put to the test. Love the Scrooge point. It's funny watching well, whatever, Skid Row. You can go fuck you off too. Nihilist bastard.
Actually, 3 of those in total now. I haven't seen the third one because I don't want to oversaturate myself with bullshit, and I want to take it a few arguments at a time. So once I upload this, I'll take a look at that third one and see if he says anything original.
Original. Oh, this is amazing. Right? And your originality is what? Your contribution here is going to be what? So let's just see in this video if he makes a single solitary argument defending the fact that suffering isn't a component of value in the universe. The only relevant component of value, a degrade in your conscious welfare from this to a lower stage. So you go from not stressed to stress, from not tormented to tormented. And that's where the fundamental largest portion of all value that exists in the universe exists in that portion. Let's see if we can make an argument in here somewhere relevant to that reality.
The meat of the issue, the whole issue. I've been mentioning why it doesn't really work, in passing, in most of my videos over the last 2 years, but I haven't stated it emphatically. I haven't dedicated an entire video to it.
Well, look, subjective morality is what doesn't work. It's insanely stupid. Value relativism doesn't work rationally. It's rationally stupid. It goes absolutely nowhere. You're just basically all just saying we're all wrong. That's all you're doing. You're just making up a religion to guarantee yourselves to be wrong. Let's all just make up a cartoon and guarantee ourselves that we all got it wrong, because we'll make up something not contingent to any kind of rational demand. We'll just take all our values and put them out there somewhere. Off the table. Guaranteed to fail.
So, I stated it plainly in a couple of comments 4 days ago, I believe at this point, on an inmendham video, because he was just so patently... He did a video on objective morality, and I figured I'd get involved, because the majority of his videos, the last few months, They've been about value. And he sort of views it as being interwoven with antinatalism, and he has plainly stated, as a response to one of my comments,
I mean, just amazing. How the fuck could I possibly be an antinatalist if I didn't think life was running a net deficit? I really just don't fucking understand. How the fuck could I be an antinatalist if I didn't think we were running a deficit? If I thought it didn't fucking matter, if I didn't think the value mattered, why the fuck would I bother wasting my motherfucking time arguing with these assholes? I mean, just fucking amazing.
That he views antinatalism, any interpretation of antinatalism that deviates from this commoditized theory of value, he views that interpretation of antinatalism as entirely superficial, right? And this is
no, entirely insane. Why is it any of your goddamn business? If you don't know what the truth is, if you don't think there is an absolute value that's at stake here, who the fuck are you to tell anybody what the fuck they're allowed to do? I mean, it's insane. Fucking insane.
Why you have people thinking that they are checkmating antinatalism by refuting objective morality, right? Objective, whatever the way they want to define it. It can be defined two ways. So
yeah, well, they are, okay? That's just the truth. If they can make an argument rationally, proving that there is no harm possible, that there's no negative net result possible from human existence or from biological life on Earth existing, if they can make an argument negating the fact that it can run a profoundly huge deficit, that there can be buckets and 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 buckets of fucking blood left over as the remainder, if they can demonstrate that rationally, that somehow all of these animals aren't really suffering and it really doesn't matter and this all works out in the end somehow, fucking Skid Row radio retard motherfucker. God damn.
Oh yeah, that irks me. It's always irked me. And I just left a couple of comments thinking that, well, maybe if I don't make any progress with inmendham, at least his regular viewers will see the comments and might make them think. It didn't really make them think. I saw some really dumb remarks from people on his, who's actually supported his...
Name names, pussy. Name names, pussy.
Responses to my couple of comments I left. And to any of those people, if you guys would like to get on Skype, my username on Skype is anti-bullshitman. If you would like to get on Skype, you people who think that this is just so obvious, inmendham's responses are so obviously correct, and that the net approach is just beyond obviously correct, and that it can be stated as the...
He just keeps talking about it like it's a joke, but he's not going to make a single solitary rational argument undoing it. Explain to me. Devaluate my own conscious experience. Explain to me why I don't get it as a sentient being who can fully understand the bazillion degrees of difference between my nuts being happily in their sack and my nuts being crushed with these pliers. How I don't know that that's a billion degrees of fucking difference of value in the universe. There will be a billion extra little quantas of horror existing in the universe in those two states. And if you explain to me how that's not true, explain to me how my knowledge of sentient experience is a deception. It's a lie. I somehow aren't getting it. Having your nuts crushed is just another adventure. It's just a fucking image outside the window on our journey. It's not really fucking happening, okay? It's really just clowns jumping up and down outside, and I'm totally misunderstanding nut crushing by screaming and yelling and puking. I'm not getting the fun. No, I don't think you can do that, because I think you're a fucking... I don't think you could do it even if you were smart, and you're not smart.
The fact that the net reduction of suffering, that any act which ultimately goes on to create a net reduction of suffering is the only possibly correct act. Anyone wants to debate this, hop on Skype and let's see you try. Okay?
Yeah, anytime, pussy shit. Okay, anytime.
So in the description section, I do a comprehensive breakdown, and I invoke even more, not that I haven't invoked it before, but I invoke far more scenarios which demonstrate just how preposterous the net approach is, especially when it's assumed to be the only possible approach.
But what scenarios? Where was this? I already dealt with your Einstein stupid thought experiment. That was a no-brainer. And the rape one I dealt with. So which one did I leave off the table? Come up with your thought experiment that I can't point out how you cheated the fuck out of it.
Determines a correct act from an incorrect act. Right? And the same can be said for a non-consequentialist sort of view on ethics, that, you know, as long as certain intentions are good, well then those are the only intentions which can be summarized as good, and therefore anyone who deviates from those...
Again, intentions become quite irrelevant because it's all about what you know, okay? So good intentions in the context of knowledge break any good intentions, right? So if you know there's a 1 in 10 chance that the gift you just gave somebody is going to blow up and rip their face off, well, yeah, you might say, I'm willing to take the risk, okay? But the fact that if it blows up and rips their face off, your intention was to blow their face off.
Intentions is denying cold hard facts, right? And the same would apply for the net equation. Any outcome that deviates from a net reduction of suffering is an outcome that, if you are defending this outcome, you are denying cold hard facts. Of course, this is not the case.
Yeah. So is that anything? I can't make anything out of that.
The net equation. Any outcome that deviates from a net reduction of suffering is an outcome that, if you are defending this outcome, you are denying cold hard facts.
Right. So if it doesn't have a net decline in suffering, he's saying it's possible that you can have something that has a net increase in suffering and it's worth doing. That's his counter argument. I'm saying that's just nonsense.
Of course, this is not the case. In one of inmendham's videos targeting one of my comments, he pretty much outed himself as somebody who is willing to sign up for the torture chamber. And to give a bit more details in the scenario, let's say that, I don't know if he invoked the word torture chamber, but he said he would torture.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I've always used the crucifixion or some other blight, even being in hell forever, okay? If I can go to hell and stay in hell forever, but 1 million people get out, yeah, I'll go to hell forever.
Himself. So I'll just invoke the scenario of the torture chamber. So there's a torture chamber, and you're pretty much guaranteed that by stepping into it, you will experience, let's say, 1 million units of suffering, right? Now, let's say that 1 unit of suffering is equivalent to just, you know, being stabbed, right? So you'd be stabbed 1 million times throughout a long period of time while you're stuck in that torture chamber, amounting to 1 million units of suffering. The compensation for this is that you're guaranteed that the moment that ends, all sentience ends as well. In the event that all sentience doesn't end, in the event that you decline the torture chamber, the total amount of harm units that are going to be experienced in the future, let's say it's going to be 1,000,001 units of torment.
So here we are, the perfect example of the bird shit example, right? He's back on the fence again. So now he's arguing about 1 unit of suffering difference, right? I talk about me going to, right? I use the simple, obvious scenario, right? That it's just a no-brainer. That's my argument. It's a no-brainer, right? I go to hell and 1 million people get out of forever torture. 1 million don't get tortured forever. And I say that's a no-brainer. That's what I said. It's a no-brainer. 1 person, 1 million. What's he do? He turns it into 1 unit of suffering difference. God. I mean, fuck you in this bullshit.
Accept the net obligation, the net formula, the net pledge the net commandment, if we accept it as the only possible benchmark for determining right acts versus wrong acts, well then, not stepping.
Well, see, and that's it. The only benchmark. And again, that isn't the argument, right? I concede the point that we are selfish apes possessed by this brain, and we are trying, if at our best, we're trying to be Mr. Spock and say, let's let our best judgment rule the day. Let's not let our intuition, our selfishness, and our book reading cover kind of bullshit, our prejudices, our bigotries to control us. Let's try to do as much thinking as possible and do as clean a thinking as possible, right? And let's just concede the fact that we are still emotional animals, and some of these things are going to be awful hard for us to ever do because it involves this ugly thing to us emotionally. I couldn't work as a healthcare provider. Even if I knew it was the right thing to do, to stick the little needle into the kid's neck and do all kinds of bullshit, I just couldn't do it. Alright? So I couldn't do the little harm for the better saving of the harm thing just because I couldn't deal with it. I just say life isn't worth it. If this is what you have to do to win, fuck winning. I don't want to play. Okay? If these are the fucking rules. This is too much mess to prevent more mess. It's just too disgusting. I can't do it. Alright? So again, don't fucking deny me the right to say that I've qualified that these fucking absolute statements, while I concede and while I insist that they are true, that any net benefit creates a rational obligation, a Spockian rational obligation, okay, that there's no way that we emotionally can live up to that obligation. It's very hard for us to be that courageous, that perfect in our function, because we are selfish and we suck by nature.
Into the chamber. Just because it's the difference ends up being just 1 unit of suffering, but it's still 1 unit of suffering is it's mathematically true that it's more. So therefore, it binds us to actually going through and stepping into the chamber, as inmendham plainly said that he would do, and he believes Albert Einstein would do it as well. And
I made it quite clear that they wouldn't do it for 1 unit of suffering. So again, this is another just preposterous bullshittery. Thank you for proving that you are bullshit man.
It's the rational thing to do. But once we counter in the fact that, well, all this other suffering is going to be distributed among millions, if not even billions, of different individuals, so it'll be allocated to much tamer extents per individual.
So now he's painting a reality that doesn't even exist, right? We don't have any human race that exists in some sort of we're all just barely comfortable, we're all okay, no big harm, no big... No, we know how real life happens. Real life happens, elephant man disease, the other guy wins the lottery. Right? Some people have perfect health, some people have chronic illness. So we know that everybody just doesn't do this everything's okay-ish thing. We know that psychological states are a little more complicated than you're describing them here. So there's no point in talking about value units because, well, he had to use a wooden spoon to eat his ice cream. So we'll count that as a half of a value unit. I mean, fuck this bullshit, alright? I mean, point out that you're taking on real suffering to prevent real suffering. All right, that's the equation. All right, I didn't endorse any other equation. So if you're going to create some sort of Stepford wife kind of reality where everything evens out somehow, well, I think that has nothing to do with anything I agreed to.
See just how preposterous it is to have one person endure all of it simply because the overall amount of suffering is going to be less. And it doesn't even matter if it's 10 units more or 20 units more or 100 units more, but I can even use the 1 unit more example in this video to demonstrate just the sheer preposterousness.
Yeah, I can look at the bird shit and talk about how the bird shit is on the edge of the fence. And we'll just ignore where we have the real opportunity to spend 10 cents to save somebody's life or some other circumstance like that. And those are the more realistic facts of our existence. It takes a minor inconvenience, a minor compromise of our existence to prevent somebody from great and profound harm. I mean, Piro just did a video on Malthusian things and all this other kind of crap, and it's just so funny because it's like everything is this disgusting contracts, these fucking gun nuts. right? As soon as you say, I'm going to own a gun, or people should own guns, you're basically saying, fuck the victims. So you're writing them off. You're saying to get your few, the very minor number of intruders who are actually life-threatening intruders, which is a tiny percentage of intruders, to kill them with your handgun, you're going to sacrifice a certain number of ex-wives and children and school children and all this other people. So you're going to wipe them out, you're going to harm them, cause them all kinds of suffering and paralyzed and all this other shit, so you can have your right to 1 in 100, proportionately, kill the bad guy.
Monstrousness of it. And especially once you counter in the fact that a lot of these other people who will exist in the future are not going to be hypersensitive to suffering. They're not going to be risk averse. They're going to be enamoring themselves with a lot of risky business.
Well, again, this is just more nonsense. So the fact that somebody's a risk taker means that they're not sensitive to suffering? I don't think that's true at all. They're just stupid. Okay, there's a big difference between being stupid and being incapable of suffering or something. And again, you're just changing the thought experiment. So now you're moving the pain from, we're imposing it on the very sensitive, and we're liberating the very insensitive. That's not the thought experiment. The thought experiment is there's 10 women, they're all the same, they're all the same virginality, saying all this shit, and you wipe one and you save 10. You just keep changing what's getting saved. And now you're saying that all the people getting rescued from hell are all people that they liked it in hell. It was fun.
So, inmendham, thinking that he is obligated to step into the chamber because it's only 1 million units of suffering for him, whereas the future would be 1,000,001 or 1,010,000 or 2 million or 3 million units of...
Well, that's more like it, right? Now, all of a sudden, doesn't that seem a lot more rational to you, right? I mean, you can sort of understand, right? Unless you're an egomaniacal lunatic, unless you're a vain asshole like Tranquil, a self-gratifying, glorifying, egomaniacal son of a bitch like him, you could understand that, yeah, I mean, I got nothing better to do than prevent 3 people equal to myself from going through horrible suffering. Oh, yeah, it seems like a bargain. 3 for 1. If you got that deal at the store, you'd say, gee, shall I pay the regular price? Or do I get 3 for the same price? Gee, that's supposed to take some sort of mental I'm supposed to work really hard to figure out what the right answer is? 3 pawns get wiped off the board, 1 pawn gets wiped off the board. Gee, I can't figure out what's the right chess strategy. Why don't I just play chess and I'll just wipe out all my pawns? I'll just wipe them all out, right? Because I can't figure out simple goddamn equations like that. I can't figure out that it's in the best interest of the gameplay, okay, that I kick the 1 off, not the 3. There's no fucking way to not understand the rational imperative. It's a rational imperative.
That same suffering divvied up among way more individuals, him thinking that that's the correct act to take to him, to step into the torture chamber, is sheer madness. Especially once you consider the fact that he thinks that it is consistent with facts, that to go into the chamber is the correct action to take. It's got nothing to do with facts. It's a single theory on right versus wrong acts. It's by no means the only...
I mean, does that make any sense to you? Right versus wrong acts? Again, the math is obvious. And the only way I could avoid the math is to think I'm 3 times better than those 3 people. And again, that wasn't the thought experiment. The thought experiment is that it's 3 people of equal value to myself, of equal integrity. They fit into the same categories. You could even make them better than me. Make it 3 really hot chicks. All right? It's going to be a no-brainer.
Theory. So when you peddle it by saying that it's interwoven with facts, well, yeah, you're going to get a lot of bullshit, and especially if you try to intertwine antinatalism with it. Because antinatalism's got nothing to do with it. because people can procreate, they can impose life on very gifted individuals who grow up to be antinatalists, who wish that they wouldn't have been, whose acts will still go on to reduce net suffering in the long term, but it's
yeah, but it wouldn't matter because, again, that wasn't what was on the dice when they rolled them. So the fact that you luck out doesn't change the fact that what you did was wrong because the probabilities are going to play out. So if there's a 1 in 10 chance, you've got to figure that if you do it at that 1 in 10 chance and you're lucky that you come out with the right win, well, the fact is, though, if it keeps getting rolled, eventually you're going to lose 10 out of, you're only going to win 1 out of 10 times. And so clearly it's an irrational thing to do.
at the same time who wish that they wouldn't have been. And if they got to put up with a lot of shit, if they're going to be under their parents' authoritarian whim, if their parents are ignorant, this and that, but they still end up being a gifted individual who does great things for humanity in the long term, well, there's still the fact that antinatalism is about anti-reproduction first and foremost, not about whatever other agenda you want to push in relation to net versus other reduction forms of suffering.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. There's no other way to conclude life as an unplayable game than to do the math. And if you're not willing to do the math, I don't see how it's possible to come to any other conclusion. So again, you haven't explained to me how this works as a nihilist philosophy at all. Okay, and until you're going to recognize the weight of the negative. So if you're not going to concede the weight of the negative is the problem, the fact that it's running a deficit, the fact that it's consuming gasoline that has more value than the movement it's producing, if that's not going to be your concession, then there's no argument to be had here. You have no right to tell anybody not to have children or to say that they're imposing or that they're doing anything else, because how could they possibly be if you're not conceding the value of the gasoline? You're not conceding the value of the cost. So and once you concede it, then mathematics is on. It's a mathematical game. Once you concede the value of the gasoline, it's all math. So anyway, this video sucked. There was something weightful in here. There was something meaningful in here. His argument was that if you're given a deal at the store, 3 for 1, you shouldn't take it. 3 for the price of 1. You should buy the 1 instead because you're a selfish prick. The 1 has your name. That's it. Okay, you're at the store. The Coke bottle one Coke bottle has your name on it. The other Coke bottles have other people's name on it. You get 3 of those, and the only difference is one of them has your name, and the only difference of the other 3 is they have somebody else's name on them. And you're going to tell me it's rational, that you were doing the right thing, the rational thing, the sensible thing, the anything near respectable thing by grabbing the 1 bottle. That has something to do with logic for you to take that 1 bottle. And not the 3 for the same price. Yeah, sorry. Fail. You people can't even do basic math. You can't even do basic math and you're trying to do fucking goddamn universal philosophy. Yeah, well, you're not going to make it. And I'm going to have to teach you. I'm going to have to teach you the hard way. Right in your face and right up your ass, fucker. Looks like he's about 15. It's scary. 13? Yeah, 13.